doubled my profit. Back in the 1960s, I predicted that someday someone using a computer would produce the ultimate procedure, one that would produce a consistent flow of winners paying profitable mutuals. Today's Sartin methodology has fulfilled my prophecy. Sartin has made handicapping, by popular definition, unnecessary. And now, here's the doc, Howard Sartin.
Thank you. Why did we start both tape 1 and tape 2 with a quote from Tom Ainsley? Because he's the most significant author expert in handicapping in all of North America. The most significant, not just now, but for 2 generations. In fact, ask many of those persons from 2 generations and they'll say he invented handicapping. So it is very, very important to me, and should be to you, that Tom Ainsley, who practically invented it, says that we have made handicapping virtually unnecessary. When I say handicapping, of course I'm talking about classical handicapping, the kind of handicapping you read about in books that tell you how to. I use that as a preface to something that many of you are going to be a little dubious. You're going to not like it too much, but we're not going to use very many past performance lines in this tape. And in the manual which accompanies this tape, which you have, I trust, with you, I'll tell you why. In 22 years of doing classrooms, workshops, and seminars, we started by showing you the past performances from a racing form, or in more recent years from a download. And this created arguments throughout the audience. You got 50, 80, 100 people, all with a different opinion on which pace line to use, all with some little handicapping angle that they read somewhere. And the handicapping instruction that ensued was clouded by all these differences of opinion. Now, I know Mark Twain says that it's a difference of opinion that makes horse racing. But that was Mark Twain. A difference of opinion makes for losing horse racing. And unless you can take your opinion to the window and produce a profit consistently, your opinion has a little bit of doubt on it. So we're not going to show you the past performances. We're going to accept the fact that you will accept the fact that the last 3 pace lines, the best of those, at a comparable distance, class and surface, etc. We've discussed the word comparable at great length in our previous tape, is the best way to go. Now let's substantiate the problems that persons have who, what we call seat of the pants or visual handicappers. This stems from their ego. What they want to do is say, I can look at a racing form and I can see all sorts of angles here, and I can see where this horse is dropping, or this trainer manipulated this, or this jockey did that. This is a very inconsistent way of trying to get consistent winners. But it does feed the ego of the person who can do it, or thinks he or she can do it. If you can do it, if you can look at a racing form and you can consistently pick winners at profitable mutuals, then I assume you're watching this tape strictly for amusement or for having something to argue with. You're not watching this tape to garner any information or to learn how to be a consistent handicapper. Because if you can do that, then you've got it made. Let me read you a note from one of the most famous mainstream handicappers around today. And I'm not going to reveal his name because, unlike some people, I'm not in the business of doing exposés. But this person has written several books. He is well known for being a consistent winner and especially making money from the value bets. Dear Howard, thanks for sending me the note and for your favorable comments, which I had made in our journal, The Follow-Up. In the interest of honesty, however, I must confess that in 1996 I was minus 2% on my action for the year, a small loss, but a loss nonetheless. Thus far this year, I'm 4.7% plus. But, and here's the part that disturbs me, but you never know when a permanent downturn could occur. This is the problem faced by these visual experts, by these insightful people who look at the racing form and see all sorts of marvelous things that are not available to the normal mind. This is the kind of things that these seat-of-the-pants handicappers perceive, about which they brag, and probably rightfully so, when they win. But here's a man who is considered part of the creme de creme of those experts, and he admits that he lost 2% in 1996. I mean, losing anything to us is anathema. Losing 2% would be disastrous. Only making 4.7% to us would be not worth buying a form or going to the racetrack for, or to the off-track betting. We're thinking in terms of 50 to 70% return on investment. And the thing that disturbs me, as I said, the most is you never can tell when a permanent downturn will occur. That's the difference between computerized consistency, which is in your previous manual. We have a whole page talking about computerized consistency versus what these people do. Visual perception, subjective visual perception. It's in the back of your previous manual. I would like to have you get that one out if you don't have it out right now, because I've marked a number of pages that you should be referring to in that previous manual, and we'll talk about them as we go through our current manual. But a lot of those things that we mentioned before are very important for you to review, recall, and put into consideration with what we're talking about today. The two philosophies which we discussed, ours and those visual, insightful, perceptive handicappers, the best of whom lost money. Andy Beyer, you'll recall, put in his own column and was widely quoted by other columnists, racing columnists, that he had lost in 1996. So if you got Andy Beyer and this other person who I kept nameless so as to not be one of those people who does exposés, they lost money with this wonderful, insightful, visual perception. What chance do the rest of us have? Why do people want to say they can do it visually? Why do they say that I don't need a computer, I can do this, I can do that? It's an ego gratification, I'll grant you. Well, what they're saying, and what some of you I know are thinking subconsciously, is, hey, wait a minute. Handicapping and winning at the races is a great mystery that we seek all our lives to solve. And that brings us to the subconscious, I'll grant you, conclusion that, hey, I don't want to have it solved. Please don't solve it for me. I want to be an eternal seeker after the solution to a mystery. I want to keep probing. I want to keep seeking. I don't want gratification. I want to seek. Well, I know that there are men who go through life pursuing women in this same manner, and they never, of course, end up in a very positive, happy relationship, because they're always seeking and never finding. And if that's your game, if that's your bag, so to speak, that's fine with me too. Watch the tape, put it away, and forget about it. But if you really wish to win at the races, not just for the sake of winning races, but if you wish to augment, to supplement your income, or in some cases totally make your income from horse racing, you can't have this quest. Very few people who went hunting big game in Africa or went exploring just for the sake of shooting the game or doing the exploration made much money doing it. If you're out to make money, time now is to stop exploring, to stop experimenting, and to get down to the business of successfully handicapping.